So a fourth home defeat in a row in the Premier League. Is it time for Arteta to go? Hello, my name is Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. In this video, I'm going to look back at yesterday's disappointing 1-0 home defeat against Burnley. Just before I do that, I just want to make sure you are subscribing to my channel. If you like what I do, please click the subscribe button down in the corner there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. If you've got any comments at all to make about yesterday's performance, the team selection, or anything to do with Arsenal at all, please drop them in the comments box. I do love to hear from you guys as well. So the team selection then, that was the first real disappointment, wasn't it? Only one change from the side that let us down in the North London derby last weekend, and that was just down to injury, wasn't it? Thomas Partey was replaced by Mohamed El-Neni in midfield. Other than that, it was the same side which has been performing poorly now for a number of weeks in the Premier League. Players that are playing well in the Europa League just aren't getting a sniff in the Premier League, which you could understand if we were winning games on playing well, but when we're not, it doesn't make any sense, does it? So the way we lined up was Leno in goal, the back four was Bellerin at right back. Still, how he's managed to keep his place is beyond me. The two centre-backs were Rob Holding and Gabriel, and Tierney was at left back. So the two sitting in midfield, it was Mohamed El-Neni alongside Granit Xhaka, another one who hasn't done anywhere near enough to justify his place in the side. Then the three sitting behind the striker was Willian on the right, another one again. It was Lacazette in the number 10 role, and then Saka on the left with Aubameyang up front. I don't know what makes Arteta think Lacazette is a number 10. Absolutely ridiculous. The guy's a forward, he's a striker. Yes, he drops deep to get the ball, but he's not a number 10. He's not a creative player, is he? And this is one of the reasons why we're struggling to score goals. What we need is someone who's got a little bit of creativity in there. We had young players on the bench in this game, Joe Willock, Emile Smith-Rowe, both of whom are more natural to that position, and instead he plays a centre forward. But it's round pegs in square holes. It's just ridiculous, and it's not working. So in terms of performance, then it wasn't great, was it? Even 11 against 11, it wasn't a very good Arsenal performance at all. We were still struggling to create a lot of chances. Yes, we had a couple in the first half. Lacazette had an air shot, didn't he, when Willian headed the ball down to him, and then he was only denied by a good save from Nick Pope with his legs. But other than that, we didn't really create enough against a team that came into this game in the bottom three, a team that hadn't won away at Arsenal since 1974. This was a game that normally you can guarantee 3 points for Arsenal, but we just didn't do enough. And then, of course, at the start of the second half, yes, Granit Xhaka's red card changed everything. We had started quite brightly after the break. We'd had 1 or 2 efforts at goal. Tierney had an effort with his right foot. Saka had an effort, but these were comfortable saves, really, for Nick Pope. We wasn't threatening a goal particularly, and it wasn't like you thought, oh, the goal's coming. We'd upped our intensity slightly, but that was it. And then, of course, the red card from Xhaka, absolute lunacy. Very similar situation to the Pepe one a few weeks ago at Leeds. There seems to be issues going on behind the scenes, which is causing these ill-disciplined moments that now are really disrupting any hope that we've got. As soon as the red card happened, you just knew what was going to happen in this game. We were not going to score, were we? And it was just a matter of whether or not we could stop Burnley nicking a victory, which of course we couldn't do. Ironic, wasn't it? There was Aubameyang that scored the own goal from a corner when he can't score at the other end for us at the moment. But I guess when things aren't going your way, these are the sort of things that happen. Baffling again from Arteta why he made the substitution so late, particularly bringing on Eddie Nketiah. 8 minutes to go when you're 1-0 down at home to Burnley. Yes, we had 10 men, but what have you got to lose when you're 1-0 down? Throw him on. Let's try and do something different. Let's try and create some chances. Let's try and get a goal back. But instead, it was far too late. I don't blame Eddie Nketiah at all. He didn't get any chance to get in the game. There's so many things wrong at the moment. There's so many mistakes that Arteta's making. He's not learning from them, is he? Because he's making the same mistakes week after week after week. It's embarrassing. He's an inexperienced coach and he's got to learn quickly and he's just not doing it. And I don't know how much longer we can keep going the way that we are. You know, we're not the sort of club to get rid of managers right, left and centre. I don't want Arteta to be sacked necessarily. I'd love him to succeed because I like the guy. He was a good player for the club and he clearly wants to succeed, but it's not working out. And how much longer do we give him? It's all this talk about a process, but watching the performances steadily, week in, week out, getting worse and worse. I just don't see the process. We've got some great young players he's not even given the opportunity to. Why wasn't Balogun on the bench in this game? He's done really well in the Europa League. This was a sort of game where, you're 1-0 down with 10 men. He's a player that can hold the ball up, bring others into play. He would have been ideal. It just doesn't make any sense. Smith-Rowe's not getting a sniff. Maitland-Niles came on and ended up playing right back instead of Bellerin. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? He should be playing in midfield instead of Granit Xhaka. Now, obviously, there's going to be changes for Wednesday night's game against Southampton, isn't there? Because of suspensions to Bellerin and Xhaka. Pepe's back as well. But these are changes that's been forced on him. Like the change he made to the side yesterday, Thomas Partey being out, that was forced on him. Otherwise, he would have played exactly the same team that's not performing. Yes, the players aren't good enough. Some of them shouldn't be at Arsenal. But ultimately, Arteta's responsible for picking them every week. I mean, how can you pick a man in a match from that? It was an absolute disastrous performance. I guess the only two really to stand out and be anything above average was Bukayo Saka, who keeps giving 100% in every game, but it's not quite happening for him. And Kieran Tierney down the left-hand side. Those two are linking up quite well. I mean, that's probably the only bright spark that we've got in this team at the moment. You could pretty much take out all of the others and replace them, and it's not going to make any difference. But those two are the only two that are consistently putting in decent performances. So it's going to have to be down to one of those two. I did give it to Kieran Tierney, of course, last week in the North London derby. So this week I'm going to give it to Bukayo Saka. But really, it was just either of those two. The rest of them were all 4 out of 10 at the most. And even Saka and Tierney were probably only about a 5 or a 6, but I'm going to give it to Bukayo Saka because he did keep going. He looked actually even more effective when he was switched over to the right-hand side in the last 10 minutes, putting some great deliveries as well. So I think for that alone, I'm going to give man of the match in this game to Bukayo Saka. So changes have got to be made, haven't they? Quite honestly, either changes of players in the team or a change of manager. Either of those two things has got to happen now over the next few weeks because we can't carry on like this. We are being sucked into a relegation battle, losing at home to Burnley, our 4th home defeat in a row. The first time in Premier League history that's happened. In fact, it's the first time in the club's history since 1959. That shows what a terrible run this is. There's not even the excuse not having fans in. We had 2,000 fans in the ground yesterday again, and even that couldn't lift the players. It's just not good enough, and I'm afraid only one man at this moment in time can take the responsibility for that, and that is the manager. How much longer he's got, I don't know. We've got a game Wednesday night at home to Southampton. Not only are they in good form, but they've proved to be a bit of a bogey team for us in the last few seasons as well. I think if we don't win that game or at least play a lot better, then I really do fear that he might not make the game against Everton on next weekend, which is strange because, of course, Everton was the game last season away just before Christmas when Arteta was in the stand, having just been announced as a manager. Bearing in mind as well, the game against Southampton at home last season was Unai Emery's final Premier League game in charge as well. So is this going to be history repeating itself this week? I think it might well be. There needs to be massive changes on Wednesday. Personnel needs to be different. The performance needs to be different. And above all else, we need to get a result. So that's it there then, my review of yesterday's very disappointing 1-0 home defeat against Burnley. It's clearly not good enough, is it? And something's got to change. Let me know what you think though. Do you think Arteta needs more time? I'm not sure what he needs time for. Clearly he seems to have lost the dressing room. He seems to have lost the players. They're not playing for him. So what more time does he need? But let me know what you think. And let me know whether you think he's going to survive these next 2 games or will he make it that far? It's very, very sad times at the moment for the club, isn't it? It's not looking good at all. And as I said, something has to change. What that change is going to be, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, coming up later today is the Europa League draw. Let's see who we get in that. Hopefully that might cheer us up a bit. And also coming up on the show tonight is my live Premier League review show, looking back on the weekend games, looking back on this game as well. I'll have a couple of guests joining me, so that'll be really good. That's going out at 7 o'clock tonight, so please stay tuned for that. And also as well, we're building up towards the Southampton game. I'll be doing a preview of that game as well. I'm hoping to get an Everton fan on as well on a positive podcast, which this week will probably be on Thursday. How we're going to remain positive, really, I don't know, but let's hope the Southampton game can turn everything around. So stay tuned to the channel, lots coming up. Please subscribe if you haven't done already. Click on the button down in the corner there. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it as well. And in the meantime, of course, as we head in towards another busy week, a big week, could be a massive week for the club, couldn't it? Come on, you Gunners!